Obviously, controlling risk is an important part of being a successful trader. Conditional orders are ways that you can do that in your trades. Our guest today is Dave Whitmore to talk about what conditional orders are. So Dave, I'll just ask you outright, first of all, what is a conditional order?
Well, a conditional order starts off with having an if condition, and if that condition is met, then an order is generated. Put it that way, a limit order is a conditional order in the simplest sense. If my price is hit, then I want to buy. But the way we use the term conditional orders now is in a much more complex way. Let me give you one simple example. I gave this example recently in talking to some customers who we were trying to talk about covered writing. And the idea was that we wanted to buy the stock as it was breaking out above what we deemed to be resistance. So we used a buy stop order as the first order, and if and when that order ever executed, now we have to understand when we place that order, that situation might not ever arise, right? The stock has to penetrate let's say the stock was 36, and if it moved up through 38, we wanted to buy the stock. If and when that order executed, a conditional order was waiting in the wings in our servers, waiting to be generated to sell a call at a certain price. That's one example of a conditional order. Another typical example is bracketing an order. So let's say you want to place an order before you go to work. You place an order to buy stock at 40, you leave for work, drive in. You can attach two conditional orders to that in the E-Trade platform that specify when that trade executes, two orders will automatically then be generated. A target price above the market and a stop price below the market. So now you're protected. In fact, you might even find when you get to work, you've already achieved your profit point.
So I should have all of these set ideally before I even get into the trade. I usually should know where they are, if not put into the system in a hard way.
That is one, those are both examples of doing it pre-trade. There are other situations where maybe once you've established a position, at that point you want to have a pair of conditional orders, one above, one below, and then if one executes, then the other one is automatically canceled. You might want your conditional order to be an option order based upon the price of an underlying stock. The previous example I gave was the execution of an order on the underlying stock, but it could just be based upon the price of the underlying stock. There are many, many permutations of conditional orders on the E-Trade platform, and I couldn't even begin to talk about them all.
So what's a good one to start with? Maybe a limit order might be a good place to start, but how do I kind of test to see which one fits my trading best?
Well, I think the example that I just gave you, I think is the most intuitive. So just let me go back. I place a limit order. When I place a limit order, I hope it's going to be executed. It may or may not. In the system, I enter that order. That order is in as a live order. Behind it, in the system, is a bracket, an order above the market and an order below the market. And those only get generated if and when the limit order gets executed. And they protect you on the downside. So immediately when your order is presented, you've got a stop order below the market, and you've got a target price. Hopefully you've plotted this out on a chart and figured out where those proper price points are. And that gives you that protection, that peace of mind, knowing that you can place that limit order, and if and when it executes, even if you're not watching at that moment, you've got closing position orders in there waiting to help you achieve your profit or protect your loss.
And then finally, one of the things I know is, as a trader myself, that when I put a limit order in on a fast-moving market, I don't get hit. The market is starting to move away from me. I maybe start to panic and say, I'm just going to go to the market and try and get in and make sure I get into this thing. And then I don't get the ideal price. So is there a best time to use a limit order?
Hey, you have just simply stepped into the classic risk-reward trade-off of the two order types of markets and limits. With a market order, you know you have some certainty that you're going to get the position. You just don't know at what price. With a limit order, you know that if you get it, you know the price at which it's going to execute. That's a trade-off that each individual trader needs to make in his own mind, and it's an unavoidable trade-off, that battle between market orders and limit orders. There's many other facets: your order size, the volatility of that stock, the liquidity of that stock that go into the decision of which one to make. But that's a core understanding that all traders have to understand. Once that's grasped, then you can move on to understanding stop orders, trailing stops, and conditional orders.
Dave, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
You're watching the MoneyShow.com video network.